oil in it and stuff?
Yeah. You want me to tell you like what I do?
Hey.
Sure.
The people want to know. Take two. We're filming it. The red light's on.
Deuces.
Okay. What's going on, everybody? It's a beautiful day, and we are here with Matt with
Dean Family Acres.
Dean Family Acres on his property. It's the first stop for the local homestead tour right here in South Carolina. So we just went through about 15-20 minutes of talking, and I didn't press the record button. Now we know, and we're going to talk about how long have you been homesteading.
Sure.
And own your property.
Sure. So we've been homesteading since 2013, when we bought the gateway animal into homesteading,
which is the chicken.
Yes, I'm glad you got it this time. So it's the chicken, and so we did chickens on about 3/4 an acre when we lived in town. We lived in that house for about 12 years.
So this was before you moved where you're
That's correct. Okay. Yep. So we've been here about 5 years. We lived in town for about 12, and a house.
So you're on 5 acres?
Yes, we're on 5.
Okay. Yeah, that's going to be my next question. Like, how many acres are you on now? So that you still don't have to be. I'm on a little over 2.5 acres. So you don't have to have 20, 30, 40 acres to do homesteading.
Yeah, no, you don't. We had chickens, and then we actually did meat birds. So we did meat birds on 3/4 of an acre. An A-frame that I built, way too heavy, probably weighed about 300 pounds. Made it out of 2x4s and chicken wire and who knows what else.
So that's interesting. It's that you didn't have lots and lots of pasture, but you were still able to raise your meat birds on grass.
Yeah, not as much as I probably should have on grass. I was feeding them, but the potential was there for that. The main reason we didn't feed them on grass as much as I wanted to is because the A-frame weighed 300 pounds.
300 pounds. Yeah. I know exactly what you mean, because you've seen the video where I made the chicken tractor for Zoe's 4-H pull-up program chickens, and I was supposed to be moving that regularly, and it was very stout, and so now we just gave some to my parents, and I'm gonna use that as a stationary. I'll probably use it to store like hay and feed and stuff, and close it in a little bit better. But
for chickens, what we have lavender Americana roosters. So we actually have 3 of those split up in a couple different pens. We have some crosses from those from previous years, as well as some game mix hens. And our goal originally was trying to continue to produce, so we had more and more lavender, because they're kind of hard to find. And that did really well for a couple of years until the skunks got a hold of them this spring and took out all my lavender hens.
You got 2 roosters in here, right?
Yeah, 2 roosters in here, and then several different hens.
With the 2 roosters in there, do you ever have them fighting, or they're
No, they're fine. I'm pretty certain we're brothers. We bought them at the same time, so they came in together. We have an older lavender Americana as well. His name's Moses, and we've had him for quite some time. Yeah. Then I wish the kids were out here, because they know all the names, of course. Oh,
that's the same with me. I don't know any of my kids. I got Lulu, Fufu, and Sunday, and I'd have no clue what I know the goats and the dogs.
That's pretty much the same. I kind of know the cats, but I can't keep straight who's who, because a couple of them look the same.
Yeah.
One of the other roosters in here is Aaron, because Moses and Aaron, they were brothers.
Gotcha.
And I forget the other one's name. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
So even whenever your hens get broody, they don't seem to bother each other.
No, there's a dominant. One of them's definitely dominant.
Right.
So you have that, and then you have they've just been in there long enough that it really hasn't
just growing up.
Yeah, it hadn't been a problem.
And they're not.
Now, I wouldn't introduce like a completely new rooster, especially not, in my opinion. My run is a little bit small for what we have in there, but as we were talking about before, like we had them more than free ranging.
Yeah.
They were living in trees and stuff, and I had to go net them because they were into everything. We started planting the garden for spring. They wanted to try and eat all that kinds of stuff. This DeWitt garden fabric, which we can kind of maybe talk about it just a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to ask,
this has been a game changer.
Yeah, I want to get some, and I can never. I just haven't really researched real hardcore into what the fabric is.
Right.
And I'll show y'all what it's woven.
Basically like industrial.
Yeah, y'all pretty much see it.
Landscape.
Y'all pretty much see it in 90% of homesteaders videos is that kind of fabric, and I just haven't really done my research to find out what it is.
But the landscape fabric, I forget whose video I saw it on, but they had it, and I was like, we're gonna try this. And we spent, it was about $75. I'd have to look back.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, it was enough to cover all of this for me to use some in my front landscaping project that I've been doing. And I think we had I don't know, maybe 20, 30 feet left from doing basically a 70 by 30.
Now, you don't have to, you know, I want to use this in one of my areas where I'm, you know, on the top of the hill where I want to plant, I want to do my corn and do the three sisters, the corn, beans, and I'm actually going to do zucchini instead of squash because we don't eat them as squash. So that's where I'm going to do it. And now, like, there's also other ways for reed retention, and that's like wood chips. And I've got a video explaining where you can get free wood chips. You just basically, if you can get in touch with any tree trimming service, they want people who want their wood chips because it costs them to take them places.
So we had roofing metal. There is a roofing metal place about 1.5 miles down the road, and they sell seconds for $1 a foot. And you just have to go and check colors. You know, they basically it's cover sheets that they have, and they even will let you use their cutter.
Wow.
And so $1 a foot. So I literally have about $9 into each one of these raised beds. The metal cost me 3, 6, 8, and then I've got some screws, and then this lumber is all either scrap or from someone who had a mill, and they were like, listen, I'm gonna burn all this, come get whatever you want.
Right.
And
known that I could go get some scrap metal because you see now, if you watch my videos, if you're coming across this and you don't watch my videos, please, you know, feel free to go back and watch. And you know, Matt right here has his own channel, and so please go check him out, watch his stuff too, because that's what this whole tour is about, is getting those connections and learning things that I wouldn't have known. Because where do you find that on Google, knowing that, like, I mean, I'm sure it's probably out there, but like, what would I, how do I find scrap metal? And you can, I mean, you're going to pop up like Lexington County Recycling. That's not what I'm looking for. So that's awesome. And he also did, when I first got here, tell me about a spot down the road I'm going to stop, and they sell, you know, raw milk. And right, so that's awesome. And knowing and gaining this information is the whole purpose of why we're doing this. So right here, we're at your barn, and you talk about being frugal. Tell me about how you built this barn right here.
so I built this barn by myself. Well, with help.
Look at how tall this thing is. I mean, it's not some little rinky-dink thing. It's got a loft that I could probably stand. I'm 5'11", and I could stand in the middle of that thing easily.
The kids keep begging me to turn the loft into like a playhouse or a fort or a tree house or whatever. 2020 we built the barn. I talked, there's a metal place right down the road from us that basically they sell metal buildings. They get cover sheets. It's $1 a foot, as long as you buy the whole sheet. You can cut it however you want, but you got to buy the whole sheet. At this point, other than my lean-to that I've started, which I have not done the video on yet, but to this point I have $515 into this barn. Up here there was a local portable building place, like metal buildings, that was going out of business, and they had an auction, and I went and bought those for like 20 bucks for the whole set. Again, I've had to buy a few things new, but 515 bucks into this complete barn. I do have a build series on it, and you know, my goal budget wise is to stay under $1,000, and that includes the lean-to, which is going to be about another 12 by 30. I think it's going to actually extend past that, so the lean-to will be further on.
So like what's next? What kind of projects or movements do you have next? Do you want to do, I mean, your garden's a nice size. Do you want to do a bigger garden? You want to, what about fruit trees? I see you got some trees back here.
Yeah, next as in realistic plan, or next as in like reality?
Anything. You speak it and it could happen.
All right, so let's do reality next. Other than us moving away from goats, and I think we really want to move towards more plants in regards to garden. We like our garden size much more than that. It's kind of a little bit much to handle, and we want to move a little bit more towards fruit trees. We've done muscadines this past year. As soon as we get rid of the goats, we're hoping to kind of expand that, and even if it is a little bit longer, I've got some other places that I'm hoping by next spring to add at least 4 more muscadines.
So do you, right now, y'all can?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so are you looking to do more like jellies, jams, muscadine wine, or?
No wine. I'm not a drinker.
Okay.
But yeah, jellies, jams.
I don't have any plans to move from this property. Like, you're pretty set here.
That's on step 2.
Oh, that's the unrealistic part, right?
Potentially unrealistic.
Okay.
So we were really wanting to expand fruit-wise, that kind of thing in regards to homesteading. I've kind of mentioned here or there, I love landscaping. That's something I really enjoy, and we've kind of slowly done that. When we moved here, we definitely didn't have the landscaping at all. It was a wreck. Incorporate different things like blueberries, blackberries, raspberries into some of that landscaping, and or just making it somewhat aesthetically pleasing. I mentioned earlier about us having 5 acres, and part of some of that, and me wishing we had more, is how our property's laid out.
I listen to a lot of podcasts, and since you're talking about gardening and doing more landscaping stuff, have you heard of a book called Vegetables Love Flowers? No,
I have not, but I know that's true.
I can't think of the author off the top of my head. I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
And I'll put a link in here too. But it's a great book. They interviewed the person and all the stuff they were talking about, bringing in your local, your native pollinators and things like that. Different kind of things that work together. Your
beneficial bugs versus
stuff like that. Yeah. So it's a great book. I would definitely read it. I haven't got to read it. I've just downloaded it.
Okay.
So I haven't got to read it. But how they talked about it and the things that they talked about in the podcast, that definitely goes along in with what you're wanting to do, and I think it'd be cool to see the progression of what you do in this, because you got it's a really pretty spot, guys. And honestly, the drive here was gorgeous. So I think the last thing I personally, and I'm sure there's some guys out there who have this question, how can I grow my beard like yours?
Number 1, don't cut it.
Don't cut it.
Because as soon, you're going to cut it or think you're just going to cut a little bit, and you've cut off 6 months worth of growth.
Yeah.
Now, you do have to trim it, because it's almost
like split ends and things.
You get split ends.
That's a beard. That's a
you
thing.
definitely get split ends.
Split ends is a thing for beards.
And the longer it gets, the more upkeep.
Okay.
Because when mine was your length, it was like, sure, just towel dry it off. If I wanted to put beard oil in it, that's fine. If
this
not,
is 10 years of growth right here.
That is?
No, I'm just kidding. Oil in it and stuff?
Yeah. You want me to tell you what I do?
Hey.
Sure.
The people want to know.
I'm sure they're asking.
This is going to be the end, because I'm going to put a clip of it at the beginning, and people are going to be like, oh, I need to know. So I'll get them through the whole video just to know
how. As long as it is, basically what I do is I shampoo it, and then every once in a while I'll use a regular conditioner, and I after I get out of the shower, of course, towel dry it off, and I go ahead and put beard oil in it, and then after I'm ready, I'll come back and I'll actually blow dry it and kind of straight, big tooth comb and come out. If I don't do that or I'm running behind, it's like this.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely massive.
Again, I appreciate you letting us come out here.
Sure.
And appreciate y'all hanging out with us, and I hope you enjoy it. Stick around for some more, and we'll catch you in the next one.